All right, let's jump right in. We're going to pull back the curtain on a piece of technology you use constantly, probably hundreds of times a day, but I bet you've never actually seen it. It's like this little piece of invisible magic that just makes your favorite gadgets, well, work.
You totally know this feeling, right? It's the middle of the night. You grab your phone just to check the time, and bam! It's like staring straight into the sun. Your eyes just can't handle it, and for a second, you're completely blinded.
Or, hey, what about this one? You're on a super important call. You hold the phone up to your ear and nothing. Silence. Yep, your cheek just hit the mute button. Or even worse, it hung up the call completely. And look, that's not your fault. That's a technology problem. So, the solution to both of these super common, super annoying problems, it actually comes from one single component. It's this tiny, hidden hero just doing its job silently inside your phone. And here it is. Say hello to the STK32562. Yeah, I know, not the catchiest name in the world. But trust me, this little thing is a powerhouse. It's an awesome piece of engineering because it crams a two-in-one solution into one tiny package. And that saves space and, you guessed it, saves money for the people who make our devices. So what does it actually do? Well, it's an integrated sensor, which means it has two jobs. Job number one, it's an ambient light sensor. It basically measures how bright or dark the room is. Job number two, it's a proximity sensor, which means it knows when something is getting really close. So you could say it gives your phone a simple sense of sight and, well, a sense of nearness. And the folks who make this little marvel, that would be a company called Sensortek Technology Corporation. Their whole deal is making these incredibly smart sensors that act as the bridge between the real, physical world and our digital gadgets. All right, let's dig into its first superpower, sensing light. This is the part that solves that whole staring into the sun phone screen problem, and honestly, the way it works is pretty incredible. Now, this is straight from the technical data sheet, and it's really the key to everything. It says its spectral response is close to human eye. Think about that for a second. It's not just detecting light, it's designed to perceive light in a way that's really similar to how we do. That's a huge deal, and it's what makes it so good at its job. Okay, so how does it turn that perception into action? Well, the sensor grabs the light, it filters out stuff that could confuse it, like unwanted infrared light, and then it turns what it sees into digital data that the phone's brain can understand. And it does this with something called 16-bit precision. So what does that even mean? Just imagine you have a box of crayons to describe the brightness. A 16-bit sensor is like having a box with over 65,000 different colors. That allows for incredibly smooth, super accurate adjustments to your screen. And the end result? Your phone uses all that super detailed information to give you the perfect screen brightness automatically. It doesn't matter if you're on a bright sunny beach or in a pitch black room. It's just seamless. And it's all thanks to the ambient light sensing part of the STK32562. Okay, on to superpower number 2. This is the one that stops those embarrassing cheek dials and accidentally hangups. We're talking about the power of proximity. So how does it know your face is right there? Well, the sensor has its own little infrared light. It shoots out a tiny invisible pulse of light, and then it measures how much of that light bounces back. And yeah, just like before, it uses that same 16-bit precision, that giant box of crayons, so it's crazy accurate. It's also really smart. It can cancel out background noise and ignore other lights, so it knows for sure that it's your face and not just the lamp on your desk. And get this, it's super flexible. Device makers can actually program how powerful that little infrared light is. They can set it to a really low power for detecting things that are super close, or crank it all the way up for a much stronger signal. This kind of flexibility is key, because it lets them tune the sensor perfectly for whatever device they're building, whether it's a phone, a tablet, you name it. So when that sensor sees a big object, like your head, get really close, it basically taps the phone on the shoulder and says, "Hey, we're on a call here." The phone gets the message and intelligently shuts off the touchscreen. No more cheek mutes. Problem solved. Simple as that. Okay, so we've seen what this incredible little sensor can do. But that brings up a big question. How does something this high-tech get from a factory floor all the way into the millions, even billions of devices we all use? I mean, that's the multi-billion-dollar question, right? Think about the biggest tech companies out there. They need millions, sometimes hundreds of millions, of these tiny, perfect parts. It's a massive logistical challenge. They can't just, add them to a shopping cart online. Instead, they rely on specialized partners.
And that's where a company like eBetter Company Limited comes in. They're an official, authorized partner for Sensortek. Think of them as the crucial link in the chain. They don't just sell the sensors, they provide the technical support and manage the super complex supply chains that these big manufacturers absolutely depend on.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, the story of this one little sensor, it's really the story of all modern tech, isn't it? It's this quiet revolution that's happening on a scale so tiny you literally can't see it. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway here. This little sensor is the perfect example of a bigger truth. The most important, most impactful technology is often the stuff you never even notice. It works so well, so seamlessly that it just disappears into the background, making your life just a little bit easier without you ever having to think about it. So from now on, when your phone's screen adjusts just right or you hang up a call without any accidental button presses, you'll know the tiny hero responsible. And it really makes you wonder, right? What other invisible technology is out there, quietly shaping your world right now?